Did we start the locks with music?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, dadgummit. We got to label these.
Yes.
I told you that 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Well, he said he had like a label thing to bring down.
Sorry,
he
I
didn't
forgot to
freaking bring it. He also didn't bring his laptop.
Yeah, I
Blame
know.
Bo for everything.
I'm sorry. I have to use my equipment at my job.
What do you think this room is, Bo?
Let's go.
Mine.
Let's go.
You're Gear at your job. You can kiss my.
Welcome to the award-winning Friday Game Night Pick'em Show. Woo! Yes, we're the top sports podcast in the state.
Jeff was so excited he couldn't even look up at his phone.
I mean, he's on his phone.
I'm struggling with the Jeff Hart side of the show.
Oh, imagine that. You're struggling with something.
You still looking for the eight, you still looking for the 8th stat this week?
You've got a whole paragraph here on the sheet. I mean, dude, you got like
You
15.
got 6 or 7. I think you got enough.
Caleb gave you one earlier this week.
I did
did?
give you one earlier.
Which one was that?
Well, if
About
he's-
East Jackson.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
not
But I
bad.
don't like that one.
Hey, guys, you realize this is week 6, right?
It is.
I
After
do,
this
yes.
week, we
Man.
will be halfway through the
Yeah.
season.
6 weeks of football come and gone, guys.
Yeah.
Like, man.
Bye-bye. Just like that.
I think I have a winner.
Oh, boy.
Should we go ahead and do it?
Congratulations. Yeah, just
Can you
go
can you
ahead.
join the
Right
conversation
now?
now? Yeah, right now.
It seems a
No
bit
time-
premature.
No time like the present.
He found the stat of the show. We
Okay.
don't want
Roll
Jeff to
it.
forget it. It might be like trying to log into the Google
Forget
Drive.
what? Forget
Yeah.
what?
Roll it.
Roll it. Here's some things you need to know.
It's Jeff Hart's interesting stat of the show.
What are we doing?
Taxi.
So no, there were a lot of good stat things this week, but I'm
Why
going
did
to
it
go.
take you 4 hours to get one?
That's correct. The one I'm going with though is I'm looking at something that's about 1,500 yards of offense. That's North Hall's top 3 players. When you look at Tanner Marsh, Ryles Purrier, and Tate Ruth, I think that offense is really, really rolling. I'm not even sure that we've seen its peak. I think it can continue to get better when they start incorporating even more players into that system. They're averaging 41.5 points a game. I think that's the difference in that game. I think it's going to be a very good ball game. And you know, the North Hall defense is going to give up some points to Cherokee Bluff, but I don't think Cherokee Bluff can outscore North Hall. So the 41.5 points per game, the 1,500 yards between their big 3. I think that's the difference in the North Hall Cherokee Bluff game.
Well, let's start off by talking about, kind of what caught our eye from last week as I do Bo's job for him here now. What did you guys think
what
were
are
the
you
most
here for?
interesting things from last week?
Hey, the interesting thing that I have is that North Forsyth Jackson County game, because we found out a couple things in that game. Number one, we found that North Forsyth could hold off a furious charge by Jackson County. Secondly, we found out Jackson County maybe fixed the quarterback issue.
I'm going to tell you, that might be the most impressive thing I've seen this year at a game was a coming out party, so to speak, of a guy that, he was the second on the depth chart. I asked Coach Mobbs before game time, I said, have you made a decision? He goes, yeah, I think I'm going to go with R.J. Knapp. He wasn't even sure leading up to the game which way he was going to go because, you like to stick with your number one guy. You want to give him a shot, but they'd really been struggling in the pass game. He went with a sophomore left-hander, had never started a game. He looked nervous in the first quarter, but in that second half, he was throwing dimes, and they were moving the ball downfield at will. And they,
the question to you, since you were there,
yes,
MJ Sperling, their star running back, goes out with injury. If he's in the game there at the end, does North Forsyth win that game?
Maybe the guy. My brain is going.
Jackson County wasn't really in position to run the ball much at the end of the game.
But the running back that came in, a senior that came in and spelled him, was very, very effective in the run game and the pass game. Look, North Forsyth keyed on Sperling. I mean, the first 5 carries he had 4 yards with like two negative runs. So they were waiting for him. They were ready for him. He finally popped a couple of big runs. I think he had like 81 yards by the time he went out late second quarter. And when you lose your number one guy, it's, he was leading Class 6A in rushing. You lose somebody like that, that's a huge loss, which made R.J. Knapp's emergence at the quarterback spot in the second half not just big in that game, but I think that's going to be a huge confidence boost for that offense moving forward. They have the defense that can win games. I know they gave up 42 points, but North Forsyth offense it's very diverse, and they have a lot of guys they can go to. But for some of the other teams in 8-6A that are in the mid-pack below, they're going to win every one of those with that defense, particularly if R.J. Knapp can throw the ball. Sperlin, I think he's a game-time decision probably for the next couple of weeks at an ankle sprain. If they get him back, I really like that Jackson County team based on that performance.
Here's the key to me for Jackson County, because I do think they're a favorite for a playoff spot still right now. If you had to ask me to pick my 4 and 8 6A, Jackson County would be in it. But the key for me is, what does this Jackson County team look like if they get that continued level of play from R.J. Knapp and they also get MJ Sperlin
that's what I'm
back?
saying. I think
if they get those two going at the same time, then what does that team look like? Because it could be a team that even somebody like Lanier doesn't want to have to face.
Right.
I mean, it could be very interesting to see.
And they get their bigger games at the end of the season, like Gainesville and I think Lanier. They get those late in the season, so if they have time to get Sperlin back,
Knapp more reps.
Yeah. I tell you, I don't know if you're going to want to play them.
Walker, what'd you see?
How about Lumpkin County and what they did to Hart County and just kind of overcoming the mental block of 8-3A?
Why did I know he was going to go with Lumpkin?
It was a very tough first half. I mean, to look at how everything played out, Mason Sullins really didn't get going. Cal Faulkner had to kind of carry the team on his back for a half until that offensive line finally wore down Hart County and allowed Mason to run for 4 touchdowns, 3 in the second half. So I think that this Lumpkin County team, that matchup in 2 weeks, or I guess next week now, if they can get past Pickens and Jasper on Friday night, that matchup against Wesleyan is huge. Probably one of the biggest matchups in Northeast Georgia next week. And I think it's going to be an awesome atmosphere in Dahlonega.
So, by the way, I was looking at the results from last week. East Jackson blew out their opponent last Friday.
Yep.
And so that sets up an interesting situation for this week. Did you know that?
Wait, do we need to roll Caleb's stat of the show?
We have something here.
Ow!
Yeah, I do have something. Here we go. Did you know from Caleb?
Yeah. So did you?
Oh, that was it. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, it's not quite as
it's not
snazzy
as
as yours.
catchy.
But,
I am Jeff Hart.
did you know that Cameron Pettis is already 1 win away from tying as the winningest coach in East Jackson history?
So if he wins this week, he's tied.
He would tie Frank Caputo as the school's all-time winningest
Actually, I did
coach.
know because you told me that the other day.
Yeah, I think so. But
the audience
But the
didn't know.
audience didn't know.
that is true. And look, I think that's great for Pettis. It wasn't a high bar.
No,
but
it wasn't.
No, but
it's a young school that hasn't done a lot of winning.
that's correct. So look,
we say this every week about Coach Pettis. I mean, he's put the time, the years, and has gone to East Jackson and said, I'm going to build this. And I think the fruits of his labor and his coaching staff are paying off now.
it's a slow-acting cement over there, and it's finally hardened. And
Yeah.
I think he's got the foundation to keep winning.
Walker.
Those fruits make the aluminum flavored Kool-Aid, right? Is that what we're?
Yes.
We need to see if we can get some silver.
Aluminium.
One more thing. Can we talk about Gainesville for a second?
We can talk about Gainesville.
They're off.
Well, they're
Wow.
off this
Oh,
week.
that's
They
true.
were not off last week.
Are they still scoring?
I think so.
Yeah.
So, that game was 63-0 at halftime. Just casually,
Walker had already lost
his
his pick at halftime, his lock at halftime, by the way.
63 zip at half. I think we had kind of been waiting because Gainesville, they've had a tough non-region schedule. And, we've talked about them playing with a target on their back. And we hadn't really seen Gainesville just explode yet this year, right? We'd seen them kind of have to grind their way through some games. Boy, they finally had a team that they had a mismatch with, and they finally showed you what they could do when they can put all the pieces together at one time. I don't know how many. I mean, there's not going to be a lot of teams left out there that is going to be as big a mismatch as they were with Appalachia to do that kind of stuff too. But if Gainesville can play that kind of way on both sides of the ball, they're ranked number 1 in the state right now. They certainly looked like it on Friday.
Yeah, finally. They'd been ranked one or two. Look, they had a hard schedule. I mean, they did. They played a very tough, very challenging schedule, which is kind of what you want. Because I don't know region-wise if they're going to get too many. You know, North Forsyth may push them. Maybe Jackson County, if they get it going.
What about Lanier?
Lanier could push them. I mean, but, you know, when you look at the region as a whole, they're not going to be pushed that hard as they were in the non-region.
Right.
So it's good to see them kind of break it out.
And I said there's not a mismatch like that. Shiloh could be that
Shiloh
also.
probably will
so
be.
I'll take that back. Shiloh could
Yeah.
also be that. But
And that's at City Park.
yeah, that is a City Park.
Yep.
So.
All right, guys, let's get to the conversation. By the way, as much as I hate to say this, Jeff was undefeated last week at 13-0.
13-0.
Myself,
like a BCS national champion.
Myself and Walker and Seth were all 12-1. Caleb was 10-3, and Joe Dix was 11-2. Our guest picker this week, and of course, coming up later on the show, another legendary coach in the building, Coach Chuck Graham, joins us as the guest picker today. So make sure you stick around for all of that.
He's a Florida State guy, right?
He is a Florida State guy.
I'm going to have to ask him about that.
Go eBay his playing card.
Oh, yeah. I forgot he has a playing card. I'm going to have to ask him about Florida State because they're having a pretty good year.
We're going to ask him about that playing card, too.
Oh.
We should probably buy that playing card, actually.
We need some memory.
How much is it
We need
How
some-
much is it going for right now?
It's going for about $4.
$4. Does that include
pretty
shipping
good.
and handling?
No.
Oh,
Yeah. So, anyway, Coach Graham coming up later on the show. All right, 3 big games this week. We're going to start at the top there with Clark Central at Jefferson. This is a big Region 8 5A battle. An interesting one at that. Talking to Coach Nolan earlier this week, Jeff, he says their lines of scrimmage are very good. So perhaps we see a game that's won in the trenches or a game that's won through the air.
I think it's going to have to be one in the trenches eventually. But I've seen Clark Central, Seth's seen Clark Central, outstanding defense. I mean, they held Gainesville down for 2.5 good quarters, and we've seen what that offense can do. I see Clark Central stacking the box. I mean, 9, 10 guys maybe, forcing them to pass. And Jeff, that's if there's an Achilles heel to the Dragons right now, they just haven't shown much, and they haven't had to show.
I don't know if I would call it an Achilles heel because they really haven't had.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They have. I was about to say
mean?
they just haven't had to break out. Passing the ball 15, 20
Right.
times here. But they may have to this game because if they stack the box and they can bottle up Sammy Brown and the rest of that run game, Jefferson will have to beat them with the pass. And can they? Clark Central has a very solid offense. It's very diversified. And if they can get some traction against that Jefferson defense, I think this could be a very interesting ball game. I mean, I think Jefferson's, a big favorite. They probably should win this game at home, but I think Clark Central absolutely can win this game if they can force Jefferson to pass the ball. I think that's the key. If Jefferson wins that line of scrimmage, I think they blow them out.
Jefferson, you talked about Sammy Brown. Clark Central is going to have to bottle up Sammy Brown if they want to win. Nobody has been able to do that this year for 4 quarters.
I don't think anybody stacked them the way Clark Central. This is the best defense they've probably seen.
It will be interesting to see what Jefferson does offensively, but Jefferson's got a pretty good defense in their own right too here.
Well, they do. They do.
Yeah, I can easily see them holding Sammy Brown, containing him for just a little bit in the maybe first quarter, maybe 2, and then I can just see him breaking out.
And Walker, Sammy likes to run between the tackles. Sammy likes to run over people. So if that defensive line of Clark Central is going to stack it up there, that's going to force them to kind of do something different, maybe try to attack the outside. So it's going to be an interesting matchup from the standpoint of Sammy Brown, the way he's been running the football so far, against this defensive line of Clark Central.
Yeah, but we're not talking about, Sammy Brown on the defensive side of the football. I think he's going to be big for the Dragons to be able to slow down that Clark Central offense that can score points. And then we still haven't even talked about Sammy Brown on the special teams side and him averaging what is it, 52.5 yards a punt?
Close to it.
He can.
Somebody should sign him.
He changes the game in all 3 aspects and is able to flip the field with punts. He can grind out runs, whether he's getting 2 yards a carry or 10 yards a carry. Him touching the ball is just going to keep Clark Central having to focus on him, which opens up everything else. And then defensively, it feels like Sammy Brown's all over the field.
Right.
Clark Central has to find a way to bottle them up, not just on offense, but also on defense and in special teams to have a chance in this game.
Yeah,
and that punting could be in a game that we think could be a defensive slugfest. That punting could be
huge.
I mean, we saw an East Hall Chestatee game just a few weeks ago that basically got won by East Hall because they pinned Chestatee to the 1 yard line with a punt late in the game.
Yep.
So that can make a difference.
And I think one of the things that we're kind of missing here too is that Jefferson has really good lines of scrimmage as well.
Well, they do.
So,
Yep.
and Skylar Zimmerman on the other side on defense for them at linebacker. So, I mean, the other night against Oconee County, the kid played with lights out. I mean, he was all over the place. So they have other keys on that defense, and then the offense and defensive line has really good size on it. So, I think the thing to watch is the play in the trenches Friday night.
I think what we've determined is this is going to be a great ball game, and there's going to be great matchups all over the field, and it's going to be mean and nasty. Going to
be a fun one.
It's going to be great.
All right, let's move to another big game, that I think we all kind of think is going to be fun. North Hall is traveling down to Cherokee Bluff in a Region 8 4A battle. And, of course, we talk about 8 4A. There's 5 teams vying for 4 or 5 teams vying for 3 spots because we've crowned North Oconee the region champ already. I mean, they're good.
Congratulations, Titans.
Yes, congratulations. You win it again. But you've got the 3 spots open. This game is huge to those 3 spots.
So no one can beat North Oconee.
In 8-4A, I don't think so. I don't know about.
I haven't seen anybody yet.
I don't know if anybody can, but I will tell you.
You saw what they did to Madison County, who a lot think was
do.
going to be the number 2 team.
But I believe in this North Hall offense right now. I think if there's a team that can certainly put a scare in them, I think it's going to be North Hall, which makes this game really interesting with Cherokee Bluff because, last year it was 14-12. North Hall, that was an upset win for North Hall. And it's kind of flipped. I talked to Pender earlier this week, and he brought that up because it's kind of flipped this year. He goes, we're the team playing well. They've struggled a little bit, but they're getting it going. He goes, we have to guard against that because just like we went in and knocked them off last year, they could certainly do it to us. So I think he's trying to tell his team, look, we're playing well, but we can definitely lose this game. I think this is a game that I just don't think Cherokee Bluff has the offense that can outscore North Hall. I think North Hall is going to get some points. I think Cherokee Bluff is going to get some points against that North Hall defense, I say this every week, but now they put 3 good games in a row together. They gave up essentially 50 points.
Who you picking?
We haven't gotten to the picks yet.
We're going to do the picks later.
That's right.
We're going to do the picks later.
Nice try.
Thank you.
Listen, I do think the key for the Bears here, I think North Hall wants a more up and down football game.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I think Cherokee Bluff wants a grinded out game. Can Cherokee Bluff put together sustained drives? I'm talking 10, 11, 12 play scoring drives that keep the ball out of Tanner Marsh's hands.
I think they can.
If they can do that multiple times in the course of the game, that it's going to start to get really uncomfortable for a North Hall team that is coming in at a big favor. I mean, that's an 18-point line on that game.
And don't forget, Walker, I mean, this is I know it's a young rivalry, but it is a rival game between these 2 schools.
And I think that's going to play a lot into how the emotion in this game, especially on the Cherokee Bluff side, getting to play this at home. I agree with you, Caleb. I think that if Cherokee Bluff can make this a grinded out game and get 3 or 4, 10, 11 play drives and just take time off the clock and then get maybe just 1 stop against North Hall, because I think Cherokee Bluff, if they can get that offense moving on a sustained drive, they're going to score points. If they can get 1, maybe 2 stops, this game's close and comes down to the wire, just like we've seen a bunch of games so far this year.
It could. Look, you mentioned the rivalry, I think the baseball rivalry is really helping this football because you had 2 teams,
for sure.
The last couple of years, they've been battling, number ones in that, and I think that's helping the rivalry.
I do too. I think the biggest key, Connor Holsey. I mean, he had 200-something yards against Chestatee. I think it's going to be key for him in the rushing attack. We know Coach Jones wants to run the football, but again, everything that you guys just said, if they can establish a run game that's successful, watch out in the 4th quarter because this is going to be a very interesting game.
The last thing, 1,500 yards. Do not forget that.
Do not. No.
North Hall offense. That's a lot of production.
Hey, look, North Hall's clicking right now. It's going to be a fun game. All right, guys, let's roll to the final game. We're going to talk about Cedar Shoals at East Hall. Again, another big region game, but this game right here, we've seen Cedar Shoals. We've seen East Hall. I feel good about East Hall, where they are offensively and defensively. Jamarcus Harrison at quarterback, I'm sold on him. He's a sophomore. Can't wait to see him grow, though. It's going to be junior, senior year for him. He's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the area, I believe. And I think East Hall can win this game.
Oh, I definitely think
If East Hall wins this game, all of a sudden we're like, okay, the Vikings are in the playoff picture.
Yeah,
right?
I definitely think they can win this game. I think the key numbers for them is they've trimmed more than 2 touchdowns off of their defensive capabilities. I mean, they gave a boatload of points last year. They're down into the mid-20s, which is high if you're trying to build a championship caliber team, but just trying to get there. If you go from 40s into the 20s, you're making a lot of progress. And this is the kind of game against the Cedar Shoals team. Again, how many times do we say with Cedar Shoals, you never know what you're going to get. And this is the kind of game they could go, oh, it's East Hall. So they might come in a little complacent. East Hall is going to be able to rain down on them if they want. And that defense, if they can make a couple of stops, like we just talked about the Cherokee Bluff game, if they can make a couple of stops, I think they can absolutely win. Stop it. Are you trying to get me in trouble with Joe?
Trying to get you to say.
Are you trying to get me in trouble with Joe Dix again?
No, not at all.
Sure.
I think this game is solely hinges on East Hall's defense. I think they've been significantly better, like you said, Jeff, but Cedar Shoals has the ability to just get a big play at any moment's notice. So East Hall's defense can't fall asleep in this game for any single second because Cedar Shoals will hit you over the top. I think that the offense for East Hall is going to score points. It's a home game. The fans in Rabbit Town are going to be ready to go. It's just, can that defense keep focused for 48 minutes and be able to stop the big play from happening and keep everything in front? I think that's the biggest key in this game.
Yeah, this is such a tough game to get a read on because of Cedar Shoals, right?
Right.
They're the reason this game's tough to get a read on because they are a team that has struggled so much all year long, but we know the kind of athletes they always have. And I remember being at that Cherokee Bluff Cedar Shoals game last year, and Cherokee Bluff did a lot of good things, but 1 or 2 turnovers, 1 or 2 busted plays where Devin Hester got behind the Cherokee Bluff defense, and all of a sudden you look up and Cherokee Bluff loses. I forget what the final score was, but it was a 1-possession game. I mean, you could have a scenario where East Hall outplays Cedar for most of the night and loses the game because of things like that.
Right.
And also, I like a lot of the pieces East Hall has on offense. We know Matt Turner is a good offensive coach. He made a good living doing that for a while. But for some reason, they've been struggling to get points on the board. And, okay, I get it against North Hall. North Hall's playing pretty well defensively right now, but they only put up 13 points against Johnson. They only put up, 14 against Chestatee. You're going to have to get a better offensive output than that if you want to win this ball game.
I would agree, but I think they can do it. I think this is a week that perhaps they break loose. That's what I see this week.
All right, guys, let's get to the picks. And this week we got a legend as our guest picker.
Oh, we better after last week.
Yeah, I know. Back-to-back legends. Chuck
Yo,
Graham in the house. What's up, Coach?
Hey,
man, how are y'all, man? Thanks for having me.
All right,
Having me on.
Look, our last 2 guest pickers, KDB and Joe Dix, were 11-2.
Whoa.
So you got
Really?
some big shoes there.
Well, no pressure at all. I have tremendous respect for KDB and her knowledge, and I know Joe Dix, man, he probably just got lucky.
Shots fired.
I will say, Coach, he brought a notebook. He said, I'm playing to win. I mean, he was.
Now, he did tell us that he was never going to give me and Jeff another interview because we picked against East Hall last week.
That's correct.
He also had a Powerade towel on his head, or a Gatorade towel. So
the only thing missing was the jacket. We should have just told him to wear his jacket, and then if he got mad, throw it off. That would have been the only.
Exactly. Halfway through the interview, just toss it.
Yeah, just toss it.
Well, he gets like 1 minute into the games usually.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just straight to the tip off, and then 30 seconds later the jacket's flying. So,
well, we scrimmaged them this summer, and I talked to them before the game, and everything was kind of laid back. We just trying to see what we have. And I swear, 10 minutes into the game, man, he was just blasting kids. So I don't think Joe has that. I don't think he has that mode. I don't think he has that calm down mode.
Yeah, probably not. Probably. So before we get started on the picks, though, I want to ask Coach Graham for kind of a
You gonna put him on the spot here about his?
I am. Give me the lowdown on Florida State this year. Give us the lowdown on Florida State.
Man, it's been the first time I could say in a long time that, it's been real excitement in Tallahassee. I mean, last year, I think we were ahead of schedule, won 10 games, and but Coach Norvell has done it the right way, and I think, the game has changed so much now that overnight you can actually fill your gaps just by the transfer portal. And I think they did an awesome job of recruiting both on the offense and defensive line and creating a lot of depth. And then they went out and got a lot of skill guys. So
best team money can buy. Is that what you're telling me, Coach?
I'm not going to say that. I'm not gonna say that.
Look, what I want to ask is your pick in the FSU Clemson game this weekend. That's what I want to know.
Man, hey, it's going to be tough. It's Death Valley, on the road. But I do believe that it'll be a game for about a half. And then I think kind of like the LSU game, you'll start seeing the separation within the third quarter.
Were you surprised?
Nose on top.
Were you surprised at the outcome of the LSU game? Not that FSU won. I kind of thought that was a toss-up game, but just the outcome. Were you surprised by that?
Well, going into the game, I was cautiously optimistic about it, because I know LSU, that quarterback always gives us trouble, Daniel, all those running quarterbacks. But I was shocked at the outcome. I was shocked by the score. The third quarter was unbelievable. I kind of felt like we could win a close game, but I never in my wildest imagination I thought they'd win by like 3 scores.
So FSU Georgia national championship game, is that what you're predicting?
I may have to move. I may have to move. Because I will be decked out every day in garnet and gold.
Are you saying it's a lot of
and
red
if
for
we
you?
win that game, it's totally over with. But now.
So you won't make it through basketball season if they win the national title and beat Georgia. You're to put your resignation in like on January 10th or whatever it is.
Well, I wouldn't leave, but I'll just have to, it's nice up here in this press box, so I may have to call, coach from the press box, basketball.
Hey, Coach, I just want to let you know your trading card of yourself on eBay right now is worth about $4.
That's an improvement. Something happened. It was like at 17 cents. It was, it's funny ways how you get humble. I was talking to the kids one day about my past life and playing. And then one of the kids jumped on online and tried to look for the card. And he was like, "Hey, Coach, car's like $17. The actual shipping is more than the car. 17 cents. It's 17 cents. He's like, the shipping is more than the car. I was like, man, hey, it humbled me. It humbled me,
Hey, but this card that I'm looking at right here, of course, you're jamming it down. Can you still do that?
It depends on the day. I would have to stretch for a month to know that I'm going to do it. And,
so it really is.
Deal with the consequences afterwards.
It really is all in the legs then. It really is all in the legs.
All in the legs, man. All in the legs. But, I would definitely have to plan for that, stretch, and, a little difficult now.
All right, Coach. Well, let's get to the picking. You guys ready for that?
Yeah, I'm sure.
All right,
let's go.
Let's start at the top. We'll go in alphabetical order, and we'll save that Dawson West Hall game for last. All right, starting at the top. I didn't do a pick order, so actually we do have a pick order. Actually, let's go in the locks pick order. So Jeff, myself, Caleb, Walker, Seth, guest picker. Coach
Okay.
Graham. All right, you ready?
So where are we starting?
So we're going to start with Banks County at Commerce. Jeff, what you got?
I'm going to take Commerce and the two running backs that are near the top 15 in the state in rushing. Banks County having a good season as they did last year, but Commerce is a different beast than anybody they played so far. So I'm going to take the Tigers.
Yeah, I got to agree with you on that. The rushing attack they have last week, they came back against Lincoln down in Lincolnton to win that game. So I'm going to pick the Tigers in this one.
Yeah, this was a down-to-the-wire thriller last year in Homer. I don't think it's going to be that this year, and it's not to me because Banks County is a step behind. In fact, I think Banks County is about where they were this time last year. I think Commerce is a step ahead of where they were. Couple that with the fact last year was in Homer, this year it's in Commerce. Take the Tigers.
I can't add anything to that, Caleb. That's exactly what I think, so I'll take the Tigers.
Coattails.
Yeah. Wait, is it me now?
It's you.
It's you, Coach.
You're
Okay.
after
Yeah,
Seth, Coach.
You know, I love what Banks is doing. They're 4-0 right now, but I think being on the road, and I'm from the Augusta area, and I know about how the talent that Lincolnton has, and to go down there and to get a win with Commerce is huge. So I think the running backs will be the difference in this game, man, playing at home. So I'm going with Commerce.
Can we say Seth is catching a tiger by the coattails?
Oh, not only is Coach a Florida State guy, but we just found out he spurned all Georgia schools from the Augusta area.
He what?
He spurned all Georgia teams. He was from the Augusta area, he said. He went to Florida State. What was wrong with Georgia? What was wrong with Georgia?
Oh, there
Coach?
it is. I see where you're going with this.
What was wrong with Georgia?
Yeah.
They had
nothing was wrong with that. Was one of my official visits, and I actually made a couple of unofficial visits there too. It was just boiled down to situations, and I felt like I would play.
What was Hugh Durham
in
like? What was
Tallahassee.
Hugh Durham like during a college visit? I know we're getting off there, but I didn't know this. What was Hugh Durham like?
He's awesome. Just spending time around Coach. I took a picture with him at his camp, and in 19 something, and just 2 years ago, he was the head coach at Florida State. And I know we're getting off. He's the head coach at Florida State during the early 70s. And we had a reunion like last year, and I was able to take a picture with him again like 30 years later.
Wow.
It was awesome. But yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Hugh Durham's a great guy. Marshall Wilson was one of our assistant coaches here, actually played for Hugh Durham. So we just have all kind of connections now. But Georgia was high on my list, but Tallahassee felt like home.
Okay.
All right, let's move down to Cedar Shoals at East Hall, which I find this game a very interesting game this week.
Very interesting. We've talked in the office 2 or 3 times this week about this particular game. Is this East Hall's time to kind of rise up in the region and say, hey, we're here? They got a really young team. They have some great playmakers on offense. The defense is improving. I loved your games to watch feature that we had on the on Access WDUN earlier this week. I thought you spelled it out great. I tell you what, I think it's an upset. I'm going to go with the Vikings. I really like what they're doing. I think I'm going to be against the norm on this, but I'm going to go the Vikings. I have some faith that they're ready to take that next step. And if they win this game, look out, Region 8-4A.
The only thing that kind of worries me about this game is the youth that East Hall has.
Right.
Now, it's good youth. I mean, you got Jamarcus Harrison back there at quarterback. I'm sold on him at playing that position. He's got solid receivers around him who I'm sold on as well. Defensively, they're going to be tested with the athletic ability from Cedar Shoals. But I'm going to go this week, and Joe's going to love me for this, so please, Joe, give us an interview later on in the basketball season. I'm picking East Hall this week.
That's both of us
That's
picking
both
East Hall.
of us,
I
Joe.
think we're back on the list,
Listen,
Coach.
these two picks have absolutely nothing to do with who they think is going to win. They just want to get back on Joe's good side.
No, it does.
no.
Seriously, no. I'm going with the Vikings.
I'm going with the Vikings, too. That has nothing to do
Sure.
with it,
I mean it.
Coach.
Sure.
It has nothing to do with it, Coach.
Sure.
What you got?
Now
Caleb, who
you
you
put
got?
me in the position of having to be on Coach's bad side because I'm taking Cedar Shoals. Listen, if East Hall's offense was kind of where we thought it would be at this point in the year, I'd be more apt to take the Vikings. But as you mentioned, I like some of the pieces they have on offense. I like Jamarcus Harrison, all the stuff you said. For some reason, though, it has not been translating into points yet. A lot of 14, 10, 13.
35.
They had 35 against West Hall, but they haven't done a lot of scoring since then.
Trying to talk yourself into it, right? Make
Yeah,
yourself feel
I
good.
just
Sorry.
Cedar Shoals. I think Cedar Shoals will hit a few big plays, and if I was a little more apt to buy in on that East Hall offense, I think I would take them. But I'm going to take the Jaguars in this one.
See, I'm apt to buy into the Viking defense. That defense has been a lot better than we thought they would be, even though the offense hasn't
That's true.
converted into points. I think this week in Valhalla is the week that the East Hall offense comes to play, puts up a bunch of points, keeps Cedar Shoals from getting as many big plays as they might have gotten in previous years. I like the Vikings.
Coattails again. I'll go Vikings.
I like that pick. I like that pick. Coach, Coach, we played East Hall the first game of the season. And I really like the quarterback is unbelievable. He's actually a pretty good basketball player, too. He's the difference maker. And like I said, Coach Turner's been doing a great job. And I think I'm going to go East Hall in a close one.
This would be a big win for the program for East Hall.
Absolutely.
Huge.
It would be a massive win for them.
8-4A win, and it kind of puts them in the at this point of the season in the playoff
the
picture.
mix. It would put them in the mix. Huge game.
All right, Clark Central at Jefferson, another big region showdown here, and some might say this is for the region championship in that region early, as it is the region opener. Jeff, what say you?
Listen, I think it is. I do. I've seen that Clark Central team. That is a good team. They have two big bruising running backs. The quarterback is very efficient. Big offensive line. The defense played probably the best game anybody's played against Gainesville all year, and they led that game early. But the Gainesville defense eventually kind of wore them down. I don't know if Jefferson, they might be better than Gainesville. They might not be better than Gainesville. I mean, we haven't really seen them. I don't think we've seen Jefferson at their best yet. But I think this Clark Central team can push them. I'm going to take the Dragons at home, but I would not be shocked if this goes down to a last possession game because I think Clark Central has a defense that Jefferson's a little bit one-dimensional. They can stack the box and maybe slow down that running game and force Jefferson to try to beat them with the pass. I'm going to take the Dragons, but I think it's going to be a low-scoring, very close game.
I think Clark Central's going to probably try to force Jefferson to win the game downfield in the passing game, which I'm not sure that they've been tested like that before this game. However, you have Sammy Brown. The only unfortunate part about this game is he's still committed to Clemson. But
yeah. Hopefully
I thought it'd be Jeff still holding on to that, but no, it's Bo.
So I'm going to roll with the Dragons in this one in a close, knockdown, slobber knocker, old fashioned battle.
Could be a brawl.
Yeah.
And I've kind of just given in to the fact that I don't think
there's
he's
still
gonna change.
time, Sammy.
There is
Caleb,
still time,
but
I've kind of just fallen off the wagon on that.
I've got Jefferson too. I think the Jefferson defense at home will be the difference in this one because if you're pitting it into a slugfest, which I think it could turn into, I like that Jefferson defense a little bit more. I'm going to ride with the Dragons.
Sammy Brown does it in all three phases. I like Jefferson to win by at least 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, don't forget the punting.
Yeah, 52 average there.
Wow.
That's why I said 3 phases.
Hey, Clark Central has some guys though. I mean, they have some really difference makers. But I really believe Jefferson at home. Jefferson's always sound up front on both lines of scrimmage. So Jefferson's hard to beat at home. I'm gonna go with Jefferson.
Yeah, give me Jefferson. I think the key is going to be if that defense can stop Sammy Brown and the Jefferson offense. I don't think they can. I think they stifle them early, but I think they'll break through and get Sammy through there. Give me the Dragons.
I think this is going to be a fun game before we move on to watching the trenches.
Oh, yeah.
Just
I
from
think
talking
so.
to Coach Nolan.
And before we move on again, we better find out. Walker, are you taking notes of who's picking?
Yes, he's got it.
Okay, because we didn't discuss that.
All right, let's move down to another Region 8-4A matchup. East Forsyth traveling down to Walnut Grove. East Forsyth, they've been, playing well to start the season, and I think this game is going to be an interesting game just because they have to go on the road.
Listen, they've been very consistent, probably one of the more consistent teams in this region along with North Oconee. Solid offense, solid defense. North Hall held Walnut Grove to 6 points. I think East Forsyth defense is better than North Hall. I don't know. I'm not going to call it a shutout, but I think East Forsyth should win this comfortably.
Yeah, I think East Forsyth is ahead of where they were last year. They're big up front. What North Hall did to Walnut Grove down at Walnut Grove, I think East Forsyth is going to kind of repeat that. Well, don't know if it's going to be that many. I know it was 26-6 or 24-6, whatever it was.
Right.
But yeah, I think East Forsyth rolls in this one to make Region 8-4A even more interesting, Caleb.
East Forsyth thought they were ready to make the playoffs last year. This one was a big blow to those hopes last year. I think they really believe they're ready to make the playoffs this year. I think they're going to go down to Walnut Grove and win big.
Look, it's a game they have to win because North Hall's already beaten them. You have to win this game if you're East Forsyth.
Yeah, revenge is always a big factor. Give me the Broncos to win big.
Yep, East Forsyth.
Yeah,
Coach.
It's always tough to win a region game on the road. But I really believe that East Forsyth has found their identity, and I'm going East Forsyth probably by 2 scores against Walnut.
All right, East Side, another again. I keep saying another, but this is. East Side at Flower Branch. This may be it is the most important game right now, but it is could be the biggest game for Flowery Branch of the season just because the next 3 weeks that they have on the schedule, Jeff.
Look, it's a juggernaut after this. I think you got Clark, Jefferson, Winder. I'm not sure what the order is at the moment. If you're Flowery Branch and you want to make the playoffs, you have to win this game.
Yeah.
They did not win this game last year. I think they're better this year, but they're sitting exactly where they were last year with the same questions that we had about them last year. These guys are a little bit they're older, some of the guys. I would expect them to come into this game and be able to win this game. And they're at home. They have to win this game. I'm going to pick the Falcons because I think it's a must win. I know it's the first region game and you got a long way to go, but we saw how the season went last year. You have to win this game. This is a must-win. If I'm Jason Tester, I'm like, this is a must-win. And I think you have to go into that approach. I'm going to take the Falcons based on that. I think they're going to get them ready to win this game.
Yeah, Flowery Branch wants to throw that hat into the ring for a playoff spot. I agree. This is a must-win for them. However, I will say this. I believe that Flowery Branch is a little bit ahead of where they were last year in terms of offensive output.
I'd agree.
And, the rushing attack is going well. I know East Side will probably try to run the football most of the night against Flowery Branch, so that defense is going to have that mentality of, if you're going to bend, don't break. I'm going to go with Flowery Branch in this one just because, again, it's a must-win for them, Caleb.
Yeah, I think this is big. Even if it doesn't end up being big for the actual playoff standings down the line, I think it's big for Flowery Branch just from a confidence standpoint because, remember, they started 2-0 last year and then went on a 7-game slide. Well, what's happened this year? They won their first 2, lost the next 2. If you lose this game, there's going to be a real confidence issue that you're going to have to address going forward with that team. They need this win. They're at home. This is a game that could decide it could come down to Flowery Branch East Side for a playoff spot. I think it probably will. So I agree with you, Jeff. I think it's a must-win, and I'll take Flowery Branch at home.
Give me the Branch.
Yeah.
Same.
I think Flowery Branch in a close one. Yeah, I love the running game. I'll take Flowery Branch.
All right, Habersham Central at Lanier, Jeff. Who you got?
I'm going to tell you, Lanier has gotten real good real quick. From where they were last year to this year, I'd say they're a player for a home playoff spot, certainly the playoffs. Habersham Central was looking shaky early on, but they've looked pretty good the last couple of weeks. But this is I think they've only beaten Lanier, once in their entire existence. It's a hard place to play. I've been over there. I lived in that Lanier area. I would love to see Habersham Central get this, but I'm going to take Lanier. I think their defense is better, and I think that's going to be the difference.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Lanier in this one as well, Caleb.
Yeah, I'll take the Longhorns at home.
Yeah, tough place to play. I'd like the Longhorns to win, although pretty close, I think.
Lanier.
Yeah, give me Lanier. Yeah, give me Lanier at home.
LCA at Pinecrest Academy.
This is a game LCA needs to win. They're 1-2. Their offense.
This is a region game for them.
It is, and they're 1-2. They're putting up like astronomical points, but they're 1-2. The defense, which Coach Miller said was going to be young and and a work in progress, still is. But this is a game. Even on the road, they're better than Pinecrest. They should win this game. I'm going to take LCA.
Yep, going with LCA in this one, Caleb.
I'll take LCA also.
Lightning.
In
a bottle?
Yeah, I'm going, hey, Bruce Miller. I'm going with Bruce Miller.
Oh, that's it. Just Bruce Miller. Okay.
Yeah, give me Lanier too.
Lumpkin County at Pickens County, Jeff.
Pickens is not as bad as their record indicates, but I think Lumpkin, that win we talked about last week playing Hart County, and they beat them convincingly, which I felt they needed to do. I think right now Lumpkin's just on a high, and they're on a roll. They're the best team in 7-3A. Going to go with the Indians, no doubt.
Yep, Indians roll in this one in Jasper, Caleb.
Pickens can score, but Lumpkin can score more, and I'll take the Indians on the road.
Coach, what do the Knowles and Lumpkin County have in common? They do the tomahawk chop, right?
The tomahawk chop. You know
there we go. Give me the Indians.
Oh yeah, Lumpkin's walking with broad shoulders after that win against Hart County. So yeah, they're gonna go up to Pickens and get it done.
Marietta at Buford.
We skipped Coach.
Oh, he picked
Coach pick.
Oh, I didn't hear him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going Lumpkin. He's well. I'm going Lumpkin.
Okay.
Marietta at Buford.
Buford. Marietta is terrible.
Buford.
Buford big.
Huge.
Do I need to say anything else?
No, I covered it. I
Jeff-
covered
No,
all that.
Jeff got it. Jeff took that
That's
one.
the great analysis that you come to this show
Yes.
for.
Jeez. Buford.
Yeah, Buford.
North Forsyth at Shiloh.
Shiloh's terrible. I'm going to go with
I knew
North
it. You
Forsyth.
stole my
I'm
line.
going
I
to
was
go with
going.
North Forsyth.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Nofo in this one, too.
North Forsyth.
Yeah, Nofo.
North Forsyth.
North Forsyth, definitely.
North Hall at Cherokee Bluff, a huge 8-4A matchup.
Yeah.
Neither one of these teams are terrible.
No.
They're both good.
Yeah.
Okay, just thought I'd make
Yeah.
sure we break that streak there. Boy, this is a hard game, the hardest one all week to pick. I love a ground game that the Cherokee Bluff plays, but I tell you, that North Hall offense is almost unstoppable. I'm going to go with the Trojans on the road. It's a must-win for both teams, really, if they want to have a shot at a home playoff game, but I'm going with the Trojans.
Yeah, this one's going to be tough to attack for Cherokee Bluff's defense. I think it's going to come down to what Cherokee Bluff's defense can do to North Hall's offense. I'm going to go with the Trojans in this one, though, Caleb.
You know what?
You're going the other way.
I'm from South Hall.
Not so fast.
I went to high school in that building Cherokee Bluff plays in. How can I pick against the Bears?
Well, you can.
You can.
No, I'm going to tell you. I think the Bears defense will show up, and I think they will win a grinded out type of football game.
It's gonna be a great game.
I'm going
Hey,
to take
it's gonna be a
Cherokee
great
Bluff at home.
I'm taking the Trojans for one reason. Cherokee Bluff has got to get something done on special teams and fix some things. I think they will. I just don't know if North Hall doesn't take advantage of maybe one mistake.
Out of my usual norm, I'm riding with this North Hall team this year. I'm feeling it.
Oh, so you're not going to go like Caleb? I graduated from North
So
Hall.
your
I'm a
coattails
North Hall
don't like you're
guy.
normally or no?
Walker, I might just cut you from this show. This time.
Wow.
Each and every one of you are
Hey,
just
it's nice to
slowly.
not be on that receiving
Walker's
going to
be green
change.
this week.
Yeah.
Walker's going to be green this
See,
week.
here's the only problem though. How the editing works, I can't turn Walker
Oh,
green
that's
without
right.
turning Coach green,
Yep,
and Coach
yep.
hasn't done anything to me. So
I know he mean your good graces, but yeah, I'm going Trojans in this one. I mean, I like what Cherokee Bluff has been doing, but yeah, I like the North Hall offense.
Who did Seth pick? I didn't actually.
North Hall.
He picked his school.
Okay.
His school, North Hall. Raymond County at Whitfield Academy.
That's it, Bo. You're green.
I'm gonna go, give me the Wildcats.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Raymond in this one.
Yeah, Rabin.
Is Whitfield bad? I didn't hear that
No,
analysis
they're
from
not
Jeff.
bad, but Raven's gotten
Okay,
it
but I'm
going.
still taking Raven.
Okay.
Raven.
Raven County.
All right, guys, let's get to the final pick of the show. It's Dawson County at West Hall in a Region 7-3A battle, and we're going to let West Hall boys head coach Chuck Graham,
Boys basketball.
boys basketball, pick first.
Let's go, Coach.
Floor is yours.
All right, here we go. Hey man, look, you just can't walk in the high gates. You know what I'm saying? So I talked to Coach Monty. I'm really liking what the guys doing right now. We just got to clean up a couple mistakes, but I really like us in this game.
That's it?
Going Sparta.
Okay.
What you got?
I tell you what, this is the hardest pick. I think this really is the hardest pick because you got two teams that they can be good and they've been struggling a little bit. Until I see it differently, I'm gonna go with Dawson County. They just have a way, Coach Maxwell has a way to get their guys up once region starts. I'm gonna go with Dawson County, but I would not be shocked, Coach, if West Hall wins this going away because Dawson has a lot of problems.
I'm not so sure Dawson has enough offense. We've seen that West Hall can score back earlier in the season against Johnson and against East Hall, but it's a tough one to pick because it's at West Hall.
Yes.
I want to roll with the Spartans in this one.
Yeah, give me the Spartans. I'm riding with Coach
The high
Graham.
gates.
Yep.
Yeah, the high gates.
I like Dawson's defense in this game, and like Jeff said, I think Coach Maxwell does a great job getting them up for region play. I like Dawson County to win by a single point.
Oh, he's calling his shot.
Well,
Calling
look
the
at him.
shot. There we go.
Ouch.
Fine, then I'll go directly opposite of Walker. I'll take West Hall to win by a single point.
Oh, so no coattails.
Oh.
Remember the name. Remember he's gonna have a big game. Elijah Hayes.
Yeah.
Our running back.
I love
Have a
him.
big
I think
game.
he's one of the
I'm
best,
calling it.
most underrated, one of the most underrated players in the area right now.
Yes. Coach.
Man, he's a powerful runner.
We appreciate you, man. Great picks.
Man, I appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate y'all.
Good luck this year, Coach.
Hey, we're
and I would, hey, Bo, I'll give you an interview, but not Jeff.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. I got a question, though, Coach. Are you still the front runners for Lanier Land? I'm going to throw that on you right now.
Oh, there. Look at that. Look.
Wow. Wow. Hey.
Thanks, Coach.
I like our chances. I like our chances.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate you, man.
All right. Thank y'all.
All right, guys. Let's get to the locks of the week. Jeff, you get to go first.
Listen, to me, I found a lot of these lines difficult. So because there were a lot of mid-range.
How did your graphing calculator work for you?
Beautiful. It took me about
an hour.
No, probably took me about 20 minutes to do all of them. If that, that's like one a minute. It was real fast.
Bragosaurus Rex.
Wait, there's only 2, 4,
We don't
6.
have that's.
No, I did
there's
them all.
10 lines.
Yeah,
So
I
they took
did
2
them.
minutes.
I did them all, and then I picked what I
They
thought
took
were
a minute.
the 10 best ones.
They took one every 2 minutes. That's how that average works.
Thought you were a
could have
math
gotten that on
No,
your
no,
graphic
I
calculator.
did all 18 games.
What's your lock, Jeff?
Yeah.
Well, then why aren't all 18 games listed
Because
here?
he didn't say do them all. He said pick the best ones, and that's what I did. So,
Why did you do all of them then?
Well, I could. Next time I will.
No, why did you do all?
Because I wanted to see all the
right.
lines and
What's
take
your
the best
lock,
one.
Jeff?
Just
Let's
give us
move
your lock,
along,
Jeff.
guys.
Keep asking me questions, okay? I could
I'm
be
not
rude.
asking you anything.
I
I'm
could
just
be
asking you
rude
what
and
your
not
lock
answer.
is.
Whoop, whoop.
Maybe
Okay.
this is why we got second place at the game.
Okay, Dawson County is favored by 20 over West Hall. I don't think they can score 20 points. I'm going to take West Hall plus 20.
Dadgummit, Jeff.
Sorry. That was an easy one.
No, I'm fine. I didn't want to touch that one because I really don't know how that game's going to
Well,
go. It
I
could
don't
go
either,
any
but I just
number
don't
of
know. I
ways.
don't think Dawson can score 20, so they'd have to beat them by 20. I don't know that they can score 20, so that just seemed like a no-brainer. Sorry, Coach.
All right, Bo.
He's deep in thought.
Dramatic tension. Walker's going to think the stream cut out.
How good is Pinecrest Academy?
I mean, the problem is LCA's defense because they give up a lot. I mean, they're scoring 40, they're giving up 30-something.
All they have to do is win by or not lose by more than a field goal, both though.
Well, that's true.
If you're LCA,
Yeah, give me LCA in this one.
Plus 2.
Yeah.
LCA plus 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give me North Forsyth minus 13 at Shiloh. I think the Raiders are going to win big down there in Snellville. You know,
That's
everybody's
solid.
somebody in Snellville.
Yeah. And you can stop off at Stone Mountain on the way.
Well, you got to go a little past Snellville to get there.
East Hall a 2-touchdown dog at home against Cedar Shoals.
Yes.
Yes.
Give me the Vikings.
Oh.
Yeah, but it's only plus 13.
It's still. I mean, they're
It's a-
going to win the game outright, so
Okay.
it doesn't matter.
Well, I did pick them to win. That I kind of thought about that one,
Yeah.
but that Dawson County 20 just hit me.
What do you mean?
and
just
now
hit you?
Seth Chapman.
Yeah.
Seth, it's your pick.
Okay. So I've
This
shared
is why
my.
he's in last place because it's too much thinking.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's not like I have to produce the entire show and do this, but you know. Um,
Well, do you?
Turn in purple.
Oh,
Hey, give me your pick before you leave. Give me your
Seth
lock
has left
before
the
you leave.
building. Listen to the door. There you go.
oh man. Oh.
Taxi!
Seth, that was just
Should have put a
kidding,
label
you know.
on it.
I've had some personal thoughts about how this
Issues?
About
Jefferson
this show.
about
say
this Jeff.
issues?
Yes, but
Did you say issues or thoughts?
personal thoughts.
Oh, okay.
I don't
About
like
your job here.
Yes, yes. Bam. Caleb in the billiard room with a candlestick. He did it. Good job. I've had personal thoughts about this Jefferson Clark Central game. I don't think it's going to be that big of a game. You guys have me reconsidering, though. Against my better judgment, give me Clark Central plus 18.
Okay.
I think that's an excellent way to go, Seth. I think that's such a close game.
I do too, but
And
I think it is.
And
I do
like
too.
everything else on the show, you can blame us if it goes wrong.
That's right.
Exactly.
Hey, roll the exit music so we can get out of here.
Taxi!
Come on. All right, Caleb, what's on the What's on the tailgate show this week?
Well, we're going to hear from both coaches in that North Hall Cherokee Bluff matchup, and we're just going to talk high school football, give away some prizes, eat some barbecue, and have a good time.
So
You
tasty.
do that every week.
Yeah.
Doesn't
right.
it get boring?
No.
Oh, okay.
He's got it made. He's got it made.
Yeah, he does have it made. Like 2 free meals a week.
In the shade with a glass of lemonade, man.
No, I go sweet tea.
Hey,
Sweet
speaking
tea.
of that North Hall Cherokee Bluff game, it's over on AM 550 this week. Clark Central at Jefferson on FM 102.9. And then Cedar Shoals East Hall on 94.5 The Lake. So 3 huge.
Really good. And I think
Region
they
battles
all
on
could
it.
be really good games, too.
Yes, and don't forget to go to the Friday Game Night page on accesswd1.com for stories, photos, highlights, and much, much more after the game or the action on Friday night. And follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Friday Game Night as we post up-to-date scores throughout the evening. For the entire crew here, enjoy week number 6 of high school football. Bye-bye.